right, welcome back to the St. Louis Parish Podcast. My name is Andrew Lane, the Director of Communications here at St. Louis Parish, and today I'm joined by Seminarian John Mullin. Did I say your last name right?
Yes, Mullin.
Mullin,
Yeah.
okay.
Just no S. That's a very common thing.
I don't know what I said. I think I wanted to say Mullins.
Yes.
But it's Mullin.
Yes, just Mullin.
John Mullin. Well, John, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is great.
Of course. John, this is our first time meeting. We met like 15 minutes ago in
About
the office.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
I might be pushing it, yeah.
So it's good to meet you.
Yes, you as well. You as well.
So, John, tell me a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I'm a native of Northern Virginia. So I was born in Reston and then spent most of my childhood, though, in Warrenton. So a little bit further out west off 66 and 29. Lived there for, I think, kindergarten all the way up through high school. So I was there for the bulk of my childhood.
Warrenton.
Yes.
Okay.
In Warrenton.
What parish did you attend?
So I've been a parishioner at St. John the Evangelist
Okay.
for forever. Yeah, so I grew up altar serving there maybe for 10 years, since the start of 4th grade all the way through senior year of high school. So that was a very
Nice.
formative experience with some fun, good Orthodox priests.
Yeah. Altar serving is cool. I altar served from 7th grade through 12th grade.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
nice. It's kind of cool moving up the ranks.
It is.
You know what I'm
it
talking
is.
about?
Yeah, it's like your first instance of feeling a type of hierarchy or this masculinity that you can aspire to by witnessing good priests and then also just other cool servers, maybe some older guys that you look up to. So I had a good experience with that.
Definitely. Or I don't know if you had this experience. Two experiences. One, it helped me pay more attention to Mass because I had to know the structure of the Mass when things were happening, so I was prepared to move things along.
Yes.
And then two, it was like gaining the trust of the priests at the parish. They're like, okay, you're serving, we'll be okay. I don't have to worry about things falling or spilling, things like that.
Right. I mean, you're front row. It's like the splash zone where you just have a front row seat to the consecration. And you get to know the ins and outs of Mass too. So I found myself when I was just a member of the congregation, which is still good, but I would kind of get into a rhythm where I wasn't thinking too much about what was going on. But then as a server, there's a sense of anticipation. Okay, what comes next? And then why am I doing this? Why do I need to grab the lavabo bowl? Like, what's the importance of the priest purifying his hands? Or being able to be that close to the consecration. There's these special gifts and graces I think the Lord gives to a lot of servers being that close to his altar.
Okay, so I kind of want to skip ahead a little bit. Maybe we'll revisit some of your like high school, college experiences. Sure. But you're touching on some really cool stuff. So you're serving, are you noticing maybe these graces kind of falling upon you?
Yeah. I think from a young age, I loved altar serving. Okay. And then there's a little bit of soul searching of, okay, why do I enjoy this? Yeah. Do I feel cool? Do I feel important? Do I understand what I'm witnessing? Am I able to talk about it with my bros and with the priest? Or am I trying to internalize this? Like, what is that journey like? Yeah. And that came to a little bit more of a fulfillment towards the end of high school and then going into college. And in college, I tried to distance myself a little bit. I found myself being the Catholic guy and being kind of like put into a box, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I wanted to explore my other interests. Like, okay, how am I made? What's my purpose? And then going into college, I studied foreign affairs. I'm really getting into the political realm, probably like a lot of young guys in our culture. And then seeing that wasn't fully satisfactory. And then I was being drawn more and more to the campus ministry. I went to UVA, to the Catholic Who's. So being involved more and more there, and then going back into serving, something that I had almost tried to avoid the first 2 years of college. Yeah. And then being invited back into that my 3rd year and then 4th year as well. And being able to be present like that in the Mass was super important to then my journey after college.
Very nice. Okay, so UVA, trying to break out of that box known as, oh, John, yeah, he's the Catholic guy.
Right.
But I'm sure you made other Catholic friends in the Catholic Who's group.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. There's a few of my closest friends are from that friend group. One in particular, she had a really big impact on me because through her, as well as through some other friends and the focused missionaries at my campus, I was learning how to pray and have a personal relationship with Jesus and not just see him as this abstract, authoritative figure, the main character in this book that everyone loves, but to actually get to know who he is, get to know his heart.
Yeah.
And I remember this particular moment where I'm a huge basketball fan. Okay. In UVA, we've been through some highs and lows, as everyone knows, but I was there for both. But I remember one time before this big game, probably against Duke, and we're waiting in line, and I'm getting there super early. And I'm there with some friends. And right before we're about to go in, this friend of mine says, "Oh, shoot, thinking through her schedule in her head, I'm not going to have any time to pray today." And back in the day, I was thinking, no problem. Like, you can probably you can go to Mass tomorrow, or you can do a holy hour tomorrow or a different time. Like, this is really important. We got to get to this basketball game. This is a big season for the Who's.
Yeah. And
so she continued to think about it, and then she said, "Hey, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go and pray my holy hour, and I'll try to come back into the game." And I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? And then she left, and it started nagging at me. I'm like, why is that bugging me so much that I can't do this, that I can't sacrifice my time and my interest to serve the Lord, to actually foster that relationship? And so that nagged me more and more, and I'd gotten into a deeper friendship with her, that she was able to express more of her relationship with the Lord in the context of my other friends as well. Okay. And that invited me into it. The Focus Missionaries also invited me into a deeper sense of prayer, that I was more and more willing, through leading Bible studies and being in a discipleship group, to sacrifice more of my time for the sake of a greater good, which is the Lord, my end and my all. So that was a big impact throughout college, and that influenced me in my decision at the end of college to kind of forego politics, to forego international relations, anything within that realm, and pursue a missionary life with Focus. So I was a missionary for 4 years after college.
Oh, okay. At UVA or a different campus?
Nope. So after graduating from UVA, I went to serve at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst. And then I went to UConn for the next 3 years. So UMass for 1, and then UConn for 3 years.
Got it.
Then at the end of those 4 years with Focus, discerning a call to seminary.
Wow. Isn't it interesting? That's you're very self-aware to ask yourself those questions. Like, why is this bugging me so much? Isn't it interesting how the things that kind of require deeper digging are the things that nag at us like that? That's very, very cool. And I don't know that I would have been able to do what your friend did either. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but just an example from my life. I don't know, like playing, going to a concert or something. I don't know if that I would have the ability to leave, put aside like my own self-interest to go pray and worship our Lord like that. So that would have bugged me too.
Yeah.
So that's a great friend. Are you guys still in touch?
Yeah, I was actually, oddly enough, I was just able to see her, was it 2 days ago? 2 days ago. She's actually a Nashville Dominican now. So she's a religious sister.
Okay.
And she's been a religious sister for the last 5 years. So she graduated a year early just to enter. And so all of this is edifying in my own spiritual journey with the Lord of, is it really that important?
Yeah.
Like, is it something I can really give my whole life to? Yeah. Does it give me joy? Yeah. Like, kind of going back to John 10:10 of in Scripture, where Jesus is saying, like, I came that they might have life and have it to the fullest. I'm like, do I really believe that? No. Can I give myself to this, or am I kind of only giving it half of my life, or only like putting him into a certain aspect, giving him certain time, but not everything? Like, you don't have control over my whole life. That's too much. So slowly giving it more and more. It wasn't a radical, yes, take everything right now, but it was a slow invitation in gentle voice from the Lord of, like, John, can you give me this part now? Or can I ask of this of you? And being more comfortable in that because of my relationship with him in prayer, of getting to know him as a good brother, Jesus, as well as a good father and God the Father.
Wow. Beautifully put.
Thank you. It's all the Lord. It's all the Holy Spirit. What he's able to do in my life is radical.
So we graduate UVA. We're working with Focus for 4 years. What are these gentle nudges, maybe these signs, this breadcrumb trail that God is kind of putting in front of you that maybe makes you consider, oh, you know what? Maybe I should apply to the seminary?
Yeah, good question. The idea of the seminary had been brought up, I think, at the earliest in middle school. I think a few priests had talked to me about it, mentioned it, and I would kind of push it to the side. I'm like, don't tell the other students. Like, I don't want to talk about this. And in high school, it'd come up. But as a missionary, I particularly enjoyed leading Bible studies. Okay. I loved talking about the faith. And I loved kind of having the attentive ear of a bunch of other guys and being able to dive into personal questions about the faith and how it related to their lives. And I found myself rambling probably too much. And I thought at one point, I'm like, this kind of sounds like a homily. I should probably stop. And some of the other guys who became really close friends of mine saying similar things of like, wow, like that was great. Not to toot my own horn, but like they just loved hearing about the Lord, and I loved talking about the Lord. Okay. And so hearing encouragement as well from teammates a little bit throughout the year and realizing more of my desire to be with the Lord fully and to share him in concrete ways, whether that is as a priest or as lay. Like that's the whole point of discernment as well. But being able to trust and surrender that to the Lord is a huge step that I'm still taking. Like I'm still trying to trust more and more.
Sure. I wonder, well, I think it's probably a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
Trusting just a little bit more each day, you know?
I think it should be. Like, I think that's kind of the point. I think when I was praying with Saint Therese, I've gotten really close to her this past year, and thinking of all of these other saints who died at a relatively young age, and almost being jealous at a time, like, wow, they're like so holy. They were ready for heaven at the age of 24.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here at 27, like, what did I do wrong? Like, I must not be ready yet. But realizing in a humble way, I'm not ready. Like the Lord needs to purify me more and more, and I'm welcoming that.
Yeah.
Because, Saint Therese, unbelievable story. Saint Kateri, Blessed Carlo Acutis, like Blessed Pier Giorgio Frassati, like another huge role model of mine. These young lives, when I'm reading their stories and thinking at one point, I could do that. And then I get into some petty argument with a seminarian brother. I'm like, I'm not there. Yeah. Like, I'm definitely not there yet. And being okay with that, being okay with the Lord's process of walking with me and preparing me for union with him in heaven.
Wow. So how are you enjoying, well, I'm assuming you're enjoying, but how's seminary life?
Yeah, great question. It's phenomenal. It's harder than I thought.
Okay.
But also it's a journey of freedom. And I think as well as what you said earlier, this journey of self-awareness. So the first year of seminary, it's pretty new. The last 2 years, they've instituted something called the propedeutic year.
Okay.
It took me about a month to learn how to say that, and then probably another 6 months to learn how to spell it.
Yeah.
But I was just reminded by Father Harry the other day. He asked, what does it mean? I'm like, I forgot. But it means like to teach beforehand.
Okay.
So before we dive into our studies, before we dive into philosophy, theology, all of this heady knowledge, we place priority on a foundational relationship with the Lord. So do you know why you're here? Do you know the voice of the Lord? Are you able to have conversations with other people? Like, do you have a solid human formation that you can build off of and not just go willy-nilly into seminary and be like, I am the Lord's priest, ordain me right now. I know everything. I've seen every Matt Fradd podcast. I listen to Mike Schmitz, all the Catholic stuff in the realm. But realizing relationship with the Lord is priority before anything, really for any vocation. So the first year of seminary has been unreal. Like learning how to grow with my brothers. There's also an element of a tech fast, a media fast, which was very purifying.
I'm sure.
I think as a missionary, I'd even have a time of like, I'm doing pretty good. Like I'm a pretty good Catholic. And then I go into seminary, I'm like, wow, again, like there's so many more steps to holiness that I still need to take and the Lord is inviting me into, specifically with the media, with the tech fast, where you're not on your phone, you check it a few times, you're not watching movies, you're not on social media at all. And you're realizing, I'm speaking for myself, different ways in which I am more likely to numb pain or to numb different experiences that I don't want to have. Yeah. Like maybe conversations with brothers I don't want to get into, or maybe there's emotions coming up that I just want to push back down. Mm-hmm. So let me just doom scroll, or let me just watch a movie and take my mind off of it, which is not leisure. It's just, you're just vegging. Mm-hmm. And I didn't take anything out of it. And thinking that this year would completely purify that. Like, okay, so I don't have this sense of numbing, then I'll be totally fine.
Yeah.
Then I found myself being drawn to reading. I love reading. It's a hobby, passion, interest. But I found myself reading for the sake of numbing.
Wow.
Like I was just reading and reading. So really, it's like when you take away one thing, you're still going to be drawn to another before that root cause is addressed.
Yeah.
Like I need to address that root disease. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but this vice, maybe that I'm still holding on to. And then start to not just go after the symptoms, but go after the root cause. So I found myself reading to avoid these conversations or to avoid these different activities because it just felt uncomfortable and I didn't want to walk into that. So having conversations with my DBs, my diocesan brothers, and having formation advisory meetings, as well as spiritual direction, which is just phenomenal to have that freedom within your first year of seminary where you have a formation meeting once a month and you have spiritual direction every 2 weeks. So you're constantly in a sense of evaluation, but more your own self-evaluation. Yeah. So you're not just going into a meeting and be like, tell me how to fix me. Mm-hmm. But, okay, what's the Lord telling me in prayer? How are my other brothers seeing me in community? So there's a beautiful quote. I think it's by St. John of the Cross. It's not really a quote. I'm kind of going to butcher it. Okay. But he likens community and your brothers to being artisans. Okay. So if we are our own block of marble, that these other brothers, people that we're living with in community, even family members, whoever that is, that they're chipping away at us. So they're chipping away at us to form this beautiful marble statue of who we're called to be. And realizing that we can't do that by ourselves. Like we can't form ourselves completely outside of community and then bring ourselves to everyone and be like, look at me, I'm perfect.
Perfectly formed.
I have it all. I have it all together. But the purpose of community, even in religious life in seminary, is for them to help form you. So a lot of my seminary experience has been learning how to be open and vulnerable with my brothers. To see how the Lord wants to purify me, edify me into the man he's calling me to be. So seminary's experience of self-awareness, it's challenging to be able to be vulnerable with the guys that you're living with and not adopt this like Sigma male kind of mentality of like, I wake up before everyone. I do all these workouts. I levitate in prayer, whatever that is. But no, like we're all figuring out together and that's okay. Like that's fine. So seminary is a wild ride. It's a wild ride.
That's great. You're talking about purification and being chipped away like a block of marble. These are not pleasant experiences. Typically growth kind of hurts a little bit. So I'm sure it's not this like walking through a field of daisies. I'm sure it'd be pretty tough, right? You're addressing these internal kind of these sicknesses that you have, right? To be purified. But I'm glad to see that you exude this like kind of positivity about it. You're excited. So that's good. That makes me feel good knowing the seminarians going in or feeling that way.
Yeah. There's just a sense of joy when you think and when you discern that you're following God's will. It's like whatever that is, even in the midst of suffering, you're like, I think I'm doing God's will, so it's okay. Like there's a great quote from St. Teresa of Avila that I love, where she says, "From silly devotions and sour-faced saints, O Lord, deliver us." Like deliver us from these people that maybe we've idolized and we think that's the faith, but it just looks like a struggle the whole time. They're not having fun. And I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to be this example of Catholicism and be like, oh, this is what Catholic life looks like. Oh, it's penance all the time. Because it's not. Like JP2 even says, like, life with Christ is a beautiful adventure. Like, okay, I believe that. So I'm going to give it my all because I trust that the Lord's going to guide me in the right place. Like Father Hanley, he was our formator during the propedeutic years in Arlington Priest, which is a huge blessing to have. And he would say throughout the year, like God will not let you fall flat on your face. It's not some like big philosophical kind of pondering, but it's a reality of if I give the Lord everything, he's not going to fail me.
Yeah.
Like the Lord, God is a good father. And he's going to run after me. Even if I close my eyes and pretend like he's not there, he's still there. Like he's still going to watch out for me.
Yeah.
And if I give my heart over to him, how more so is my life hopefully going to be aligned to his will?
Yeah.
So wherever that leads. So there's that freedom within seminary as well of discerning your vocation with the Lord and being okay and open to where the Lord leads. Yeah. Whether that's further into a discernment of the priesthood or whether your heart is being drawn more towards family life. Praise God.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful discernment. So just encouraging people wherever they're at to be open and honest with the Lord and ask big things. Like there's this great analogy I've heard where like if I met Superman just on the street, which would be radical, it'd be kind of crazy. I'm not going to ask him to do a super simple thing that I can do. I'm not like, hey, Superman, Clark Kent, great to see you. Can you unload my dishwasher? You're like, that's just a little too simple because you know he can do so much more.
Yeah.
So if I have a conversation with the Lord and I'm just like, Lord, I just pray that the teacher doesn't call on me in class. You're like, okay, like that could be a good prayer. Like maybe you're not prepared or something.
Yeah.
But what about a more radical entrustment to the Lord of your entire heart? You're like, Lord, give me a heart to love you or help me to discern my path.
Yeah.
Or help me to love my family members in this situation, or help me in my healing journey of where I've been hurt. Those are big questions. That's not just like a simple, let me plug that into ChatGPT of how to be healed. Okay, great, 5-step formula. No, it's a deeper invitation, this embodiment of Christ.
Yeah.
So, yeah, being bold of asking the Lord his plan for your life and then trusting that.
I like that a lot. I've never heard it put that way, but you're so right. If I had met Spider-Man, I wouldn't say, hey, yeah, can you pick up my pizza?
Yeah, which you can do. Like, you definitely can do. Yeah.
Wow. And then what you said earlier, just having the confidence of, you're doing the will of God, and so that should be enough, right? It may not be the most pleasant journey, but I think you have that confidence, like, okay, God, if this is your will, then like I'm satisfied. I might not be happy, like happy all the time.
Yeah.
But I have a sense of peace and I'll keep moving.
Mm-hmm.
John, I wanted to ask you one thing. Studies are showing Gen Zers are returning to the church, either from leaving the faith and returning or coming from nothing to Catholicism. Something to do with the attractiveness of the traditions, the attractiveness of these kind of bolder claims in an age of, well, the article I read said therapy speak. Everything is kind of like, oh, well, if you, whatever you feel, instead of placing these, these demands to live this virtuous life, they're difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're kind of attracted to that, And what I wanted to ask you is, I fear that people come to the church because of the aesthetic. I think Catholicism has an aesthetic, and it's pretty cool. These big churches, Gregorian chants, these tales of overcoming struggle and suffering. Those are kind of like, these are kind of cool aesthetics. But my question is, what would be like a nugget to the beginning of a prayer life, to a beginning of that intimate relationship with Christ, and not just kind of joining the church because you like the aesthetic?
Yeah. That's a great question. And it is something very visible in culture now, is to see this draw of young people towards truth. Like there's this great desire for truth. Like I think the big Jordan Peterson kind of crowd or people that were drawn to that were, okay, we're searching for truth. And to see a group of young people that desire to come to the church because we're seeing truth is beautiful, but it does take like a further step than that. The journey in faith is one of accompaniment. It's one that I found out. So even starting a prayer life, definitely just start. Like just don't have a mindset of, I need to do everything perfectly. Like don't let perfect be the enemy of good, that awesome pithy saying. But just to begin and be honest with yourself and not place expectations on your prayer. So my prayer doesn't automatically have to look like Jesus' high priestly prayer in the Gospel of John. That's not meant to be like that either. Yeah. You are meant to be who God has called you to be, and that means the heart that he has given you. So reveal that heart back to the Lord. So just share how I'm doing, what do you really want? So kind of taking inventory. We're in a culture now that everything has to be uber productive. No such thing as wasting time.
Yeah.
And so much is now done over a screen. So we've become disembodied. Like everything's away from the human experience. And church, Mass, invites us back into the human experience, which is awesome. But what do you do at the end of Mass? You leave the church, right? Go in peace. Thanks be to God. Are you thankful that you're leaving Mass to then like be able to share the gospel with other people, which is almost impossible if you're not being accompanied. So do you have a community of other people? So when you're starting a prayer life, invite other people into that. Like be attracted, like go after people that you know are living a good Catholic life or a good Christian life, and invite them into how you're doing, how you're feeling. And then being honest with yourself in prayer will only continue to grow that community more and more. Just like in the beginning of Acts of the Apostles, like they're so drawn together through what Acts 2:42 talks about, right? So like fellowship, breaking of the bread, the sacraments. I'm blanking on the rest. Fellowship, breaking of the bread, prayer, and there's one more. I'm blanking. But being able to surround yourself with other people that are pursuing the same thing, that desire the same thing. So being honest with your prayer, finding a good community, and running to the sacraments. So important. And then the Lord will be able to do the rest. But he'll fuel that fire. Yeah. Like I think of the burning bush in the book of Exodus. Like Moses is a good guy, but he's been now like living as a farmhand kind of for a while. He's tending sheep. And he sees this bush and it's completely consumed by fire, but it's not disappearing. Like it's not gone. Like I feel in prayer, the Lord is inviting us to become almost that bush. So we don't disappear. We're not now just like, we don't just become Jesus Christ in the flesh. Like we're not called to be that, but we allow the Lord to transform us through the fire of the Holy Spirit to then attract other people of what's going on? Like, why is this guy joyful? Or why is he praying in the church? Or why doesn't he engage in this vice or whatever that is? So these people that are attracted to truth are attracted to the rest as well, to the beauty and to the goodness of the faith. So being able to incorporate that all into community and the sacraments in your prayer, I think for one, it flows well, but also that's just the history of the church. Yeah. That's apostolic church. Yeah.
I love it. Just start.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Lord will take care of the rest. John, thank you so much for being on here. I'm looking forward to seeing you over this summer, and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks. You too, Andrew. Great to be here.